guys, it's Jasmine and welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you all a Year 11 advice video slash what I wish I knew at the beginning of Year 11. That noise is so annoying. Hopefully this is of some use to you all as it got quite highly requested on my last video. And if you haven't already seen that, it was my GCSE results video, so I'll leave it linked and also in the little pop-up. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get straight on into it. There goes the beep again. So, number one, it's no secret that Year 11 can get pretty stressful and like it all gets a bit hectic and crazy at times, so I think it's essential and perfect to have some sort of outlet. So I'm really happy to say that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Now they are an online learning community with thousands of different classes covering like creative and entrepreneurial skills. They have so many different classes doing loads of different things, and basically I think that it's a great way to relieve stress yet still maintain those productivity levels and stay in a productive mindset when you're doing revision or just taking like a break or after school and things like that. I personally have been loving looking at some finance classes, and it's great also as you can use it as a way to kind of see what kind of things you're interested in for Year 12 or for even further education like degree level or apprenticeships, and what kind of things you want to do and what kind of tickles your pickle, so you can explore that kind of option with the classes or just do things which you're interested in. There's absolutely loads. And because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, there goes that beep again, so annoying. You guys can sign up with the link in the description and get 2 months free trial, 2 months of free classes and learning about what your heart fancies and just kind of discovering new skills, and it's absolutely great to do in your downtime to just kind of keep those productive little things going on in your brain. Number two, that I have, tip number two, I've kind of ordered them. I've made a little list so that I'm nice and prepared, as I'd never be able to think of these on the spot. But number two is try and establish a work-life balance as early on in the year as possible. Try and establish a work-life balance ASAP, because that way if you have it like set in stone and you're okay with like what you're doing at the beginning, it makes it so much more easier. This was definitely like probably the number one thing that I struggled with. So by work I mean school, obviously, evidently we're talking about school, and life I basically mean everything else, so like social, sport, clubs, societies, family, friends, like absolutely anything other than school. And I would say from like September till midway through November, I personally don't think you need to sacrifice anything for the sake of like revision or anything like that, because it's not that intense yet. So like you don't need to sacrifice anything, like you can still have a good time, live your life. And if anything, this is probably a little bit bad to say, but like I still did okay, so it's fine, is probably go out more and just appreciate the fact that you're not in exam season and you're not stressed and lumped with loads of work and revision, and you're kind of like free to do that, as you'll really appreciate those memories that you've got in exam season when you're like just depressed and a little hermit crab in your shell, not doing anything, not speaking to anyone. I'm obviously joking, but yeah, so I don't think you need to like sacrifice anything during that period. Obviously that is as long as you're on top of all of your schoolwork. And then from December to like end of March, I'd make it like 50-50, 50% of the time revision and then the other 50 like doing whatever else your heart desires, like whatever else you want to do. And then I'd say from beginning of April to obviously the end of exams, it's probably more like 75-25 or like 80-20 in terms of like revision and studying to like social life and seeing everybody. As in the scheme of things, this is what my mum told me to try and get me to knuckle down. Those 2 months of your life is literally 2 months. Like 2 months in your whole entire life is nothing. I'm not going to sit here and calculate how many months the average person lives, but those 2 months are literally nothing, and to be honest they fly by. So those like little social events that you miss out on, you will more than make up for during summer or like in Year 12, Year 13, like the rest of your life. So just knuckle down then. I really struggled with like a work-life balance during that like last period. I went through this stage of don't see anyone, you've just got to work, like you've just got to do work, and basically it just didn't work, and you do still need to have that social life and a life other than revision. For me, staying in, it didn't work. I didn't necessarily work harder. It was just like, say a full weekend I'd spend revising, but half-heartedly revise for the full weekend, rather than say if I went out on the Saturday and then didn't do revision on the Saturday but then worked really hard on the Sunday. It was probably like the same level of productivity. I just feel a lot better if I work like that. So yeah, that's definitely what I would recommend to do. So this next one is to be more organised and have really good notes. This might seem really self-explanatory, but I really want to put emphasis on it. because for my GCSE results you can really see like my natural ability, because I really didn't do much work for them, and the whole lead up to it I felt really depressed because I didn't work as hard as I could have done, which is just annoying, and it's just lucky that I did actually get grades that I'm happy with. But it was largely down to natural intelligence, and you can really see sheer variation in results. Because I actually enjoy humanities-based subjects, I'd make really detailed notes because I'd find it really interesting, and I'm an organised person anyways, so the organisation part wasn't the problem. And I feel like because I've got these differences, I can see what I did for, say, English and got a 9 in compared to biology and got a 6 in. What I'm trying to long-windedly say is because I was interested and naturally gifted at like English and humanities and things like that, my notes would be really detailed because I just get it and really understood it and really liked it. One thing that my history teacher would always say to me was how detailed my notes were, and I genuinely think that's what really paid off. I think if at the start when you're learning about something you make brief notes, then you're only taking in like a brief amount, rather than if you take detailed notes at the start when you're learning about something, and then later on in the year when you go over it and make new revision notes, you make it brief then. Yeah, I did detailed notes for like the subjects which I got the best grades in, and then for like biology, because I just didn't like it and didn't have that interest, my notes obviously weren't as detailed because I didn't want to spend time doing long notes about friggin' cells, so I didn't. So number 3, this again might be a little bit of a given, but that is to try and end of topic tests, especially for, well, everything really, but I'd say for me, sciences. If you try in those end of topic tests like throughout the year, then you are building notes and you're building knowledge, and you can literally thoroughly go back and see which section in each topic you are weak on, rather than if you get to your GCSE and you do a past paper and you see all of these like errors. That's okay, but it's honestly so much easier to refine your revision, and say in your mocks you can pick up on the topics that aren't as strong, and then within those topics you can see the like subtopics and see the subtopics which aren't as strong. And I just think it's just so much better and easier. And also you then build upon notes, and this is something which is so important. I didn't realise until I did my GCSEs how much of like a mess I was in, because I just didn't have all of these notes that everyone else had who has revised. So if you revise for your end of topic test, you then have notes for that, and then when you get to your mocks you have already notes done then for what you've covered, and then you have less notes to make at your mocks, and then when it comes to your GCSEs you have less notes to make. So I've spoken about mocks in that tip, and my next one is about mocks. And if you're going to take anything away from any of these tips, it would be to revise for your mocks. If like literally my brother is going into year 10, and when he hits year 11 I'm going to be like, revise for your mocks, revise for your mocks, revise for your mocks, because I didn't. When it got to Easter holidays, okay, that was when I like properly started to revise for my GCSEs, and you should probably revise before then as well. I started to make notes for my subjects, and I started on like English, history, RE, like my favourite ones. And let me just tell you, everyone when we got back to school who had like sweated their mocks and revised really hard for their mocks had their notes done by the end of Easter when we all came back to school, and they were like a-okay for GCSEs. You can start doing past papers. It doesn't matter what you get in your mocks, whether you do really well or really bad if you don't revise. What matters is the fact that you have no revision, and the reason why that's a problem is you've put yourself at a massive disadvantage to everyone else who's revised, because they have revision notes, so you put yourself at a disadvantage when you didn't need to. Again, this next one might be a bit self-explanatory, but try and get your notes done ASAP. I didn't realise again the importance of this, but I don't mean do what lots of people do, and I see it on comments on loads of different like year 11 or GCSE advice videos, is kind of start in September and then do a bit in November and December and like that kind of thing. I think that's really unreasonable. I literally know so many people who got like all 9s and didn't do that. The sooner you can do your notes and have them done, the better. And there are ways you can do this, as I've mentioned, without having to sacrifice that time in September, which is ridiculously ages away from your GCSEs. Revising for end of topic tests, as I said, you'll accumulate notes for your GCSEs then, and you can look over them, maybe add a tiny bit to it for what you kind of forgot in that end of topic test. Mocks, you can get a big chunk done then. It's just so much less stressful, and then leads on to the next little tip tip, I'm getting good at this little transition thing. You can do past papers, and I would say try and do a lot of past papers. And again, this isn't necessarily for the actual grades or like the outcome and things like that. It's just the stress and mentality of everything it can really help with. Now, I have a friend who literally did every single past paper you could find, and she literally just did, whenever I messaged her, she was doing a past paper. Every time I spoke to her, she'd just done 1,000 past papers, and it really paid off. She got really good results, and loads of people who I know who did loads of past papers, like I've got like other friends who just did past papers as well, and it really does pay off grade wise. But also I think the reason why you do so well, in addition to obviously you can see where the gaps are, tailor your revision, obviously essentials, the mental aspect of it is you know what grades you've been getting, you know what to expect. If you've worked yourself up to say a level 8 in your past papers, you can sit that exam confidently knowing you've done like 4 or 5 past papers and got a grade 8 in them. Obviously you're not that confident because you don't know what the exam's going to bring up, but you can feel pretty confident. And for maths, that was the only subject which I did past papers for in lessons, and it was so like much better for me. I felt so confident sitting that first maths paper because in lessons I'd been getting like 8s and 9s and just really getting it all and just seeing where the error was, sorting it out, and then doing another one and then like acing it. Honestly, if you make your notes and are able to do past papers for your other subjects, you will do really well, and it will just really help you mentally. You can just sit that exam, you know the format, you know how the questions are asked, you know how they like to trick you. And yeah, I think for sciences as well, like past papers are just great, but I didn't get to do any of them. My SD card just got off, I can't remember what I was saying, but basically what I was trying to say is just do some past papers and get your notes done. And then the last one, which is work related, is to basically work for yourself. So I think this is so important, and you'll have everyone from all different directions, all different people from different places in your life saying this is what you should do, this is what you should do this, revise at this amount of time, you should start revision then. Work for yourself, find out what works, and just do that, and just ignore everyone else. We literally had an assembly. We all got sat down in the theatre, and the head teacher was like, you need to do 6 hours a day, here's a booklet, and we got given revision booklets, and you had to do revision schedules and do like 6 hours a day, and that was the expected, like a minimum of 6 hours a day. And I was like, excuse me, do you really expect me to spend 6 hours a day revising? I think the most that I did was like 4 hours a day, and I don't even think that was like consecutive for like the Easter holidays or like half term or anything like that. So I just want to say it's okay to not do however many hours a day, or to do way more and do like 15 hours a day. Like that's okay. And if people are like, you're gonna get burnt out, don't do that. If that's what makes you feel okay and like calm and at ease and stress free, then do that. And if you feel like you can't do like 6 hours a day, you can only do like 4 hours and then like massive breaks and then another 4 hours and then massive breaks, then do that. At the end of the day, work for you. And I feel like not enough people say that during GCSEs. Not enough people take into account like personalness, as in like what works for you as an individual. It's really easy to just lump everyone in together and be like, do this, do that, do this, do that, and it just might not work for you. So when I say work for yourself, that's what I mean. Yeah, just you do you, and it will all work out in the end. And at the end of the day, as long as you know you've worked the absolute hardest, then you'll feel fine and you will have no regrets and you'll feel okay. And for English and maths, I couldn't have done any more than what I did do, whereas for everything else I wasn't like as personally invested in what I actually got, because I was like, I've not tried as hard, I could try harder and do better and get a better result. So yeah, as long as you've tried your hardest, I would just say you feel so much more at ease and you don't have that guilt. So yes. And then the last one, obviously another big thing which happens in year 11 in the UK is prom. So I wanted to mention this in this video, and I have one little tip for prom, well kind of two, but I'm just going to lump it all into one general one, and that is to have everything sorted for prom before February and then like March at like a push. You probably will be a little bit stressed. So I had everything sorted, and the people who didn't really like struggled as they were trying to find things during GCSEs and they wanted to focus on that but had to spend time out finding dresses and all of that kind of thing. It's just a lot less stressful, and the more you can get off your plate during GCSE time, the better a period it will be for you. So yes, and yeah, that's pretty much everything. At the end of the day, just try and enjoy your last year with everybody and seeing everyone, because after that people go to different places, different sixth forms, different colleges, and yeah, it just all kind of changes. or, well, it doesn't all necessarily change. I don't really know, I've not gone into year 12 yet, but my boyfriend is going to a different sixth form, my best friend's going to a different sixth form, I've got loads of other friends who aren't staying, and it's a really, really small sixth form. It does have quite high entry requirements. It's all going to feel really different when we go back and there's not like the same people and you've got a different form and everything like that. It's going to be pretty weird. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm doing RE, history and English literature for those of you if you are wondering. But yeah, as I was saying, just like enjoy your last year with everyone, and being in year 13, don't try and like wish the year away. And yeah, that's it. That's my video done. I'm gonna love you and leave you all here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and it was helpful. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your 2 months free trial for Skillshare, and let me know what classes you guys are doing and we can talk about it together in the comments. If you guys have any tips, if you've been in year 11, if you've done your GCSEs, that you could leave in the comments for other people, it'd be really, really helpful. And as I said, if you want me to do the year 10 video, then vote on the poll and let me know, or let me know in the comment. But yes, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Mwah.